automation and automation of content. So I'm pretty excited about today. We've got some really, really fun stuff for you guys. But number one, I want to, and I asked this before we got started with the call to a few of the folks that were on, how many of you are done 100% with everything with session number one and you're ready to rock? I know we had a couple more people come in. So if you got everything done with session number one, 100%, got everything filled out, give me a yes in the box right now. And if you're watching this replay later, you don't get a pass. You have to be done with that stuff because I promise you, you will not get what you need out of this course for the rest of the course if you are not done with everything from session one. It is that stinking important. So with that said, today I'm going to give you some more stuff to find sources. If you came into finding some good sources of content, some good places to possibly advertise later, today I'm going to give you an even better way to organize it so that you can go back to it. But on the other hand, give you just some other cool ways to get in that stuff. Okay, so more stuff's coming as far as content. I'll help you even more with that because, you know, why not? Why not make our lives a little bit easier after you've done that initial research? So you're getting that today, but you're also going to get what I think is the most powerful thing I will teach you in this course. I don't know. There's a lot of really powerful stuff. I think each session that we do is pretty powerful. And that's why we do each of them. But today is where you're going to transition your thinking, okay? How many of you, up to this point, you've kind of got a sense that we're going to be using other people's content and kind of doing a curation model for our members? How many of you have been a little on the fence as to why that's valuable? Who's there? Like, go ahead and just put it out there and just say, hey, I'm still a little on the fence as to why that's valuable. I know some of you get it. Like you subscribe to stuff where you're getting, you know, curated content, but some of you are still on the fence about it. And here's what's going to happen. Today, I'm going to take you off the fence. I'm going to knock you the hell off the fence. Now, let's just get strong with it. But the other side of it is if you are not on the fence, you already are on my side, then you are really going to get it locked in as to how to do this the right way. And I promise you, there's going to be one thing I teach you today that will change your life. Like 100% change the way that you look at information marketing, change the way that you look at this curation model. Today is the day where you will absolutely have a light bulb moment that just blows you out of the water. And I guarantee you'll look at everything else that's going on around you differently because of what I show you today. And I'm so stinking excited because this is one of those things that once you learn this, things are different. All right, so enough talk about it, enough hype into this. I'm excited about it. Let's just get to it, right? Okay, so let's move on. First things first, let's jump in and what to expect. You know, last week, session number one, we did the Slackers Foundation. So important because if you don't do that, then you're not going to be set up for success with any of these following sessions. It's just not going to happen, okay? But today we're going to do mechanics and automation of content, okay? So this is all about setting up, figuring out how to do content the right way, having it in almost an automated feed in front of you of content that's going to fit your people, but also how to set this up so that you're not driving yourself crazy once you get it set up, but also so that your people stick around, okay? This is so, so, so important. So that's what we're going to be doing in session two today. Once we get today done, guess what we've got? Guess what we're going to have between session two and session three? You are going to actually have a product. Think about that. If you got session one done and you're moving into session two and you actually get from session two to session three with the homework done I'm going to give you today, you will have your product. Now, you're not going to have a way to sell your product yet. You're not going to have the traffic to sell your product yet. But today, from the session number two to session number three, you will have your product done. Sound good? Sound good? This is going to be the value that you provide. And the beautiful part about this, guys, is guess what? Once you learn how to do this, not only can you do it for yourself, but you can charge local businesses to help them do this. You can charge other people online to help them do this. This is a skill that it's not just about making money in your business, but what if you could go into an existing business that was out there and you could help them take the traffic that they already have and you could give them a membership model and they could monetize the traffic they already have with the model that you're learning today. That is possible. That is something you should make money with. And today we're going to open the doors to that. Okay? So let's keep moving. Let's dive in. All right. So before we get started, I said this last week, but I want to make sure I'll kick it out after this, but I got to say it one more time. If you've never run a successful membership online before, you don't have a frame of how this is supposed to work, it's okay, but let me frame it for you. If you've never done things the way that I'm going to teach you, your natural tendency is going to be to doubt it. That doubt is going to end today, trust me. But understand, trust me, do the work. I make money like this. A lot of people I know make money like this, and you will too. You just got to get through these first few sessions. You've got to get the first thing up for sale. And as long as you can go along with that, we're going to be rocking. Okay, so the other thing, and I think this is the most important, focus is just sexy. It is. You're going to get distracted. There's going to be things all around you. Get away from them. Get away from them right now. The only things that you are allowed to buy are things that fit into this model. So if there's something that helps you get content for this model, awesome. If it's something that helps you automate this model even more, awesome. But stay away from it if you can't find it. Everybody cool with that? Good. All right, let's get out of this disclaimer stuff, but let's have one more really good focus on what our actual goal is at the end of this whole thing. 100 paying members, price point from $4.95 to $19.95. That's it, okay? That is our focus. At the end of the last session, we said our top pricing, our frame pricing is going to be $19.95 so that we can give discounts but still prove our value, okay? We also said that we're going to be either doing a monthly newsletter or an every other week. We're going to try to stay away from the every week model, all right? So that's kind of what we've laid in stone so far. Now let's get into it. Is everybody ready? I've given everybody ample time to get locked in and to finish their last minute stuff if they needed to do it before we dive in. All right, good. I think we've recapped well and we're ready to go. All right, let's get into this now. Now here's what you're going to have by the end of this call. By the end of this call, you're going to see how to use your initial research to grab content for your newsletter. Okay, so that's a very important part of today is the initial research that you have actually done. You are going to know how to use it to move forward from here. Okay, so that's really, really important. After that, we're going to talk about constructing your newsletter properly, the template, the logo construction, the layout, the content, all of that good stuff. And probably what I consider the most valuable thing that I can teach anybody about a membership is this last thing that we're going to go over, which is understanding the hooks of any membership. Okay, so a lot of you were saying, well, Ben, we're curating content. What's the real hook to keep them coming back for more? Today, you're going to learn that, okay? You're going to have to think about this one a little bit, but today you're going to learn that. This is insanely important. This is the most important thing. If you don't do this, your membership will not succeed because you will bleed members every month, and you will bleed them like crazy. You're going to lose a few members here and there, but this keeps them coming back longer, and it keeps them to a point where they're getting value from you. So it's a nice win-win when you do this the right way. Okay, so let's dive in and let's actually start going through this stuff. Okay, so before we get started, something that's important because we're going to need this. If you don't have a Get Response account so far, that's what we're going to be training on. If you want to run this on another sort of email platform, that is totally cool. I am okay with that. I'm not going to lock you into Get Response, but I highly recommend it because that's what I'm going to be teaching throughout this course. Now, down the road, I may recommend something else because we find something else. I'm always looking. I'm always trying to get better. But right now, we run these things on Get Response, and that's what I'm going to be training. If that's an affiliate link, by the way, that I'm going to be typing into the chat and that you see on your screen, you don't have to use that. I'm completely okay if you don't want to use that link to sign up for your account. That's awesome. If you don't, just go to getresponse.com. So there's some other things out there that we're using and we're testing email-wise, but we've not tested them enough to be using them. I'm teaching Get Response right now because it's been the most reliable for our membership so far. I got plenty of other autoresponders that I use, but this is what we do. If you want to complicate it, go ahead, complicate it. You can complicate your life all you want. But if I tried to teach this on 40 different autoresponders, we'd never get anything done. So we picked one because it's the one we use the most for these kinds of things. There you go. Okay, enough disclaimer. There you go. So we're going to be using that. That's what I'll be training you on today as well as the duration of the course. Okay, so there you go. That's what we got. Now, one more key thing before we get started. This is huge. We're going to start with what I think is the most important part of content, because if you don't understand this, you're in trouble. So everybody, if you're not paying attention, if you're not looking at the screen right now, come back for just a second, write this down because it's extremely important, okay? In any membership, you must be able to put the burden of getting value out of the membership on your subscriber. Let me say that one more time. In any membership, you've got to put the burden of getting value out of your membership on your subscriber. Let me ask you something. What do you think is probably the most valuable part of this course that you're in right now? Is it the stuff that I teach you? Of course, the stuff that I teach you is important. But you know what the thing is that really locks it in and really gets you to a place that you're rocking and rolling? It's the stuff I give you to do every week. Does that make sense? We give you skills and then we teach you how to apply those skills to the next thing that you're doing. Does that make sense? Do you see why that ups the value immediately? If I just got into a course and I said, here's a bunch of stuff that you need to know, go do it when you're ready, that's one thing. But if we actually put the burden of getting value on you, we're in a much different place, aren't we? Does that make sense to everybody on a conceptual level? I'm going to get into actually digging into it now. But on a conceptual level, give me a yes in the box if that makes sense. Okay, this is what you have to find with your membership now that you've kind of got an idea of what you want to run. Here's what your content should actually do. Your content should actually do this. It should give them a plan. It should give them action steps, and then it should give them a to be continued, which leads into your next edition. So are we just randomly finding a bunch of articles and videos that relate to our topic and popping them into an email newsletter? Is that what we're doing? No, that's not giving anybody any value at all, right? That's really not going to give anybody any value at all. What we're doing is we're getting this content and we're putting it together in a way that it gives them a plan and it gives them action steps and it gives them enough to do in the meantime until they get to our next edition. Everybody follow me on that part. So what actually adds value, what actually means something to our subscribers, whatever niche that we have to put the burden of using the content on them. Now, I'm going to show you how to do that today, okay? We're not building term limited memberships like the one you're in right now. Like this is kind of a term limited membership. We're building long-term membership, okay? So you need something that has ongoing content. But every time you put the content out, which I will show you how to do today, you have to structure it in a way that you give them something to do until the next edition comes out. That's the ball game, guys. Give them something to do until the next edition comes out. Make sense? Give me a yes or no. So overall, we put the burden of using the content on our subscribers. Now, this may not be a light bulb moment for you yet. Now, I've said it, and trust me, this is the beginning of the light bulb moment. Some of you may have already been like, crap, it's starting to make sense, but some of you still may not understand how this is supposed to work. So I'll show you today, but I want you to understand this is it. This is why curated content works, because listen, they don't give a damn. They don't give a damn whether or not you wrote the content. What they care about is that you give them a way to use the content and they see it progressing to the next time you give them content. Cool? Cool, everyone? Okay, let's keep going. So now that we have all that out of the way, let's go build something. Let's actually go build this, and then I'll dive deeper into more of what we're doing with all that I just taught you. Okay, so let's get into it. So first things first, I'm going to actually pop out of this and we're going to jump into our browser. And I want to give you guys a tool. If you're not already using it, this is a great tool. How many of you have ever heard of Feedly.com? Feedly.com. So what's cool about Feedly is basically a news reader. Okay, so Feedly basically takes all of those places that you would be looking for content and it builds a feed for you so that it's all in it for one place. So for instance, social media stuff that I like to talk about. How many of you realize that I like to talk about social media stuff? Well, I have all of the places that I look for social media stuff in one place, so I get to go to one screen, one website, and it's all in front of me. I have some business stuff that we do, and it's all in front of me. Now, check this out. Remember last week when I started showing you my fitness stuff? Started showing you all my fitness stuff and how I was going to put that together. If you went to session number 1 and you downloaded kind of the guide that I filled out for you, you saw some of the places I was going to get stuff. Guess what I did? I went in and I started building a feed that's going to be put in front of me when I need it. Do you think that's valuable when you're putting together your newsletters that are going to be structured in a way that the content works together? Of course. All right. Now, yeah, I spent a little bit of time in front of this, but that's okay. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take you to Feedly. And what we're going to do is we're going to go up here to the top to the search, and we're going to go through one of the things that you made. So food, for instance, we've got food that might be something that's good. Now, you can type whatever you want in here. Marketing is, you got fashion, you got photography, but there's more things that you can actually type in here. So I'm just going to go to food real quick. And we want to go to like maybe healthy food blogs. And we can go through and we can see all kinds of cool sites that are focused on that, and we can add them to our feed. So perhaps what I would like to do is I would like to say, you know what? Let's jump into this whole food seasoned vegetable. That goes into my fitness stuff. Let me add this to my fitness category that I created. And now content from that place will just start jumping into my feed. You dig it? So whatever you're doing fits into this. So let's say I had a men's fitness and I was pulling content from men's fitness. I can actually pull up men's fitness and I can put it into my actual feed. So I can put it in, I can look at it a certain way. I can put it into my actual feed. I can make sure that it's actually there. See, we click Feedly, we put it into men's fitness, we add, and now it is a part of my daily feed. Does that help a few of you with how you're going to actually gather content as we go? It helps you probably find more content, but it also helps you take the content that you're already found and you put into that guide that you guys filled out, and it helps you put it in one place so that you're organized, you're together, and you can pull everything here, because nobody likes to have to go to Google or to go to 50 different websites, right? That sucks. So once you get that down, let's actually go in and let's build one of these email newsletters, okay? Let's go build one of these. Are you guys ready to build this thing? Let's not delay anymore. Let's actually go do it. Okay? Cool. So here's what someone says before I move on. Is this going to get clogged up like our inboxes? No. What I do here, I jump in and I say, okay, so for my niche, I'm in here and I'm in men's fitness, and how do I want to read this? And can I just basically go in and mark all as red? So I want to mark all of the category as red, and then it's done. I can go back. I can always find it, but there's nothing unread in here. Now, if you find something that you like, you can also save it, okay? So you can go in and save it, and you can go back and find it later in the saved for later section. See how that works? So that's a great question. I appreciate you asking that question. I hope that helps. That was a good one to ask before I actually move on to building the thing. So you can save good letters, things like that. So good question. That helped a lot of people, even though they didn't even know to ask it. So that was a good one. All right, so let's actually jump in. So let's go to Get Response. If you're not familiar with Get Response, don't worry. Today I'm going to run you through pretty much the technical aspects of actually doing this, okay? So most of the technical stuff will get covered today, and we're good. So when you first set up your Get Response account, and don't try to do this right now, watch me do it, really start to let it sink in. When you go into your Get Response account, this is what it's going to actually look like. This is the dashboard. What we're going to do first is we're going to set up a specific list that is aimed at our paying subscribers. Everybody good with that? A specific list that is aimed at our paying subscribers, okay? So Paul asked about the Feedly thing, and I'm not going back to this again. So Paul, last question I'm going to answer on this. Paul, you can also put the existing resources that you have into here so that it's all in one place. I guess you missed that. That's okay. You can put all of your existing resources into here, and it actually runs a feed for those. All right, let's get back to the email. So what we're going to do is we're going to jump in and set up a list. So this is how you actually set up this list, okay? We're going to go over here to where it says your current campaign. We're going to go down the list, and we're going to go to create campaign, okay? And you're going to be able to name your campaign. So what we're going to do is we're going to name this, for instance, I built one last night called Fitness Men Paid. Okay, now down the road we may have a freebie list too, but right now Fitness Men Paid, and we're going to create that campaign. Everybody follow me there? Everybody follow me there? Good. Karen says that how to use Feedly was not really clear. I beg to differ, but if you get lost when you log into it, Karen, you let me know and I'll cut you a specific video just for Feedly. The cool thing about Feedly, Karen, is it's super easy to use. And I covered the search, how to add those things into a feed, but if you get lost later and you get lost on any of it, you hit me up and I will cut you an extra video showing you the specifics, but trust me, it's super easy to use once you log in, okay? I won't leave you behind, I promise. It's just an organizational tool. But I promise once you get there, it will make a lot of sense. But if not, I'll cut you a bid. So moving forward, we go in, we set up this campaign. What I'm going to do is I'm going to do this as test so that I've got an extra one so I can walk you through the entire process of setting this up. We're going to go to create campaign. Okay, so now that's it. We have now created our new newsletter. Does everybody feel like we accomplished something big? We just created our newsletter? Okay, no? All right. So once we actually do that, we have created it, and we are going to now go in and start building our first newsletter that people get when they first sign up to our account. Everybody good with that? Give me a yes in the box if so. Okay. Now, before I even do that, I got one more thing to do, actually. And this is one of those things that you'll forget, because I always forget it, but let me show you something that's important. When you first jump into there, now we've got this. It's our current campaign, but let me show you something that you actually need to do that's important. If you go into this, you're going to go in and say permission, and it's actually going to be probably the email address that you signed up with, right? This is going to be the from field. Now, do we want it to be probably with the email address that we signed up from? No, probably not, right? So here's what you got to do. Once you don't have to do this right now, and I recommend that you don't do it right now, but before you actually push this thing live, we'll have to have an email address that's tied to kind of our membership, okay? So here's what you actually do. You go up here to My Account, and you go to Account Details. You go over here to From Email Addresses, and you add a new address. So for this one, I would say Men's Fitness Letter, and I've got a better name than that, but just to show you. And I'm going to put in an email address for that. So whatever your membership is, at some point you'll probably set up a domain for it. But even if you don't, maybe put it into like what I do. Here's what I do, and I'm just going to show you this. I have a standard catch-all domain that all of the email addresses that I set up, and I can show you how to do this technically if you don't, all of the email addresses that I have set up go to one account. Probably the most technical thing you'll have to learn how to do if you want to even do it that way. When I add this in, it will send a confirm verification message, meaning you have to open up the email, confirm it before you can send email from that name. Okay? It's not really something I want to show you the technical how to set up the email stuff on this call, but I can cut you guys a video if action will make me a note, and I'll cut you guys a special video showing you how to set up the email stuff super easy, okay? It's not. So you see up here where it says verification pending? That means it's waiting for us to confirm that address. And we can't actually send from it until we confirm that address. Okay, I feel like I'm talking technical, so just take a real quick break. Everybody good so far? All we're really done is we set up a new list, and we actually are trying to set up a new way to sit, so the name that it's from looks good. That's pretty much all we've done. Okay, so when I get into super technical stuff, it's, I kind of get in that spot, so I want to make sure everybody's good. Let's actually go build our first letter now. Let's get to the fun stuff. Okay, so we're going to go up here to Messages, and we're going to go to Create Autoresponder. Okay, so here's what you want to do. It's probably already set up perfectly. We want to do time-based, and we want to do day 0. What that means is the second that they actually sign up for this list, it's going to send them out a brand new newsletter, the one that you program in, okay? Now, I actually have a list set up already that I did in advance, and I'll show you. Let me get here. It's a fitness list. It's Fitness Men Paid, so that's the one we're going to do. I want to make sure that it can go out any day when they sign up. Now, if you only wanted people to get their first edition on a certain day, you can do it that way. But the way we're going to be doing it for this course and the way I recommend is that you send it out immediately on all days. So if they sign up on a Sunday at midnight, they're still going to get their newsletter the same way they would if they signed up on a Wednesday at 2 p.m. Cool? Okay. The next thing we're going to do is we're going to actually jump into this section, which is where we're going to build our email. So we're going to create a new email. All right, now I'm going to call this Fitness Sample number 1, but you can call it Fitness Edition number 1 or whatever your newsletter is. No one will see this except for you. And then we're going to put something to the effect of this. Welcome to, and then the name of your letter. Now, I had already set up mine last night, so I didn't need to have to walk through all that junk and the confirming and all that. Mine is going to be called Train for Battle. That's our fitness letter. Why do you think I chose Train for Battle based on our last conversation? Why do you think I chose that? Because we had a lot of military people in my research, didn't we? We had a lot of military research, but what's cool is the people that aren't military will probably also be into that, right? Because we're basically going for males 25 to 35 with some bleed over out of that. Okay, so that's what we're going to do. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to say something to the effect of, welcome to Train for Battle. You dig it? So far, so good? Are we moving at a good pace or am I going too quick? Too quick or too slow? Okay, good. So when we get done with that, we're going to hit next step. So next step. Now, here's the beautiful part about GetResponse. They got some pretty stinking good templates to get you started, and it kind of fits what we're trying to do, okay? Now, I'm going to be real honest with you. I built you something that you can use from the get-go, but just in case you don't want to use one of my templates to get started, I wanted you guys to see how I get these things started from the ground up, okay? So if you want it to kind of have a different look than what I'm doing, and I don't recommend it, just keep it simple, keep it easy, copy mine and change out the pictures and change out the logo. But let me show you how to do it. So what we're doing is we're going to go in, we're going to find one, and I found one down here that I thought was really, really good. But you can pick any of these, like I said. But let's actually go down here, and let's find a template that kind of fits. What I'm looking for is, the templates are built in, by the way. You don't have to do anything. You got to go up here, and when you actually go in to build your message, it will ask you if you want to start from scratch or if you want to use a pre-designed template. It's going to default you to the pre-designed template so you can pick that. That's a great question, Gabrielle. Okay? So we're going to go down the list, and what we're looking for is we're looking for something that's going to make it easy for us to put in content. So something like this luxury red, it's got sections, right? Remember how we talked about we wanted sections? This celebrity black's great because it's got different sections. And if we've got 4 to 5 to 6 sections of content, we got something that's really powerful to get started, don't we? So this is what I want to do. I want to use something like this because it's got our sections already gapped up for us. So far, so good? Everybody happy? Good. Okay, so let's keep moving with this. So you got a nice view of what this is going to look like on the side. So you can see our sections are gapped up very nicely if they view it on their phone. But we've also got a nice setup here. Now, let me show you how we do it. So to start out, I kill this little section here. I just want this top section. And this is where we would put what, do you think? What are we putting at the top here? We're going to put the title of our newsletter or our logo. Okay? Or our logo. Now, let me tell you something. In the beginning, you can sit around and wait for a logo. Don't do that. Don't do that. If you start getting customers for this, then you can go spring for a logo. Sound like a deal? I'm going to show you where to get a logo for cheap, but don't worry about the logo to get started. It's not something that I would spend a ton of time on right out of the gate. So here's what we got. Boom. If you want to get real fancy, put a couple brackets around it. We can adjust the size a little bit so that it looks a little better on mobile. And if you wanted to put a tagline in there, you could do something like this. Let's go smaller with that. Let's take that down to maybe a 22. That's a decent start, isn't it? It's not the prettiest thing you've ever seen, but it's a pretty decent start. And that's all we got to do. Train for battle. Really great tips for men who want more. Simple. Says what it is. Tagline says what they're going to get. That's what we got. So now what do we do? Now what do we do? Now we start editing these sections to fit what? What do these sections need to fit? Our categories, right? Our categories. So if we were to get into our categories, that the content that you told me were the main things, this is what we need to start doing. So for those of you that are looking back at my categories, we had I think a gain muscle. Let's delete some of this so that we've got that. We've got a gain muscle. We got to lose weight. We've got to eat better. Oh, is lose fat? Good call. Life hacks. Conversation starters. And we got one more here, don't we? What do we do with this, you think? Should I delete it or should I do something with it? I'm just going to show you a cool thing here. You can preview your next issue, but why not do this? Anybody figure out what we just did? We just added another monetization point where we can be an affiliate for something or we can sell a different product. Pretty cool, right? Why not? If it's a good deal and you're actually delivering value, that's a huge thing for your people. They're not going to see it as a promotion. They're going to see it as, oh, thanks for going to find that for me. So super simple. So what we're doing from here is we're going to jump in, we're going to click on this picture. And what kind of picture would we add in? By the way, I've already preloaded a few of these, but those aren't hard to find, are they? Everybody get what we're doing? So what I'm doing is I'm clicking on this picture. I'm clicking on the little picture icon at the top, and I'm grabbing images. to go in here. Okay? And the photos relate to the categories. I know some of this gets a little bit silly, but there you go. By the way, if you want to have photos in here that are completely rights-free, I would point you all to a place called Dollar Photo Club. Okay, Dollar Photo Club. And you'll have to shrink down the images because they give you very high-quality images, but basically you can buy great high-quality photos for $1 and you can use them in your newsletters. So if you can't find freebies that you feel are top quality, go to Dollar Photo Club, and that is something that's going to be really powerful for you. We use it all the time. We love it. So there you go. Okay? So does everybody kind of see what we're doing so far? It's Dollar Photo, like P-H-O-T-O Club, just like you'd think, normal spelling. So everybody see what we're doing so far? Now here's the trick for you. Here's what you got to get used to here is you've got to actually figure out what the formatting looks like, and you got to kind of tweak it to go with what you're doing. So rather than bore you with actually typing this out, I'm going to pull up one of my templates for you and show you what this looks like when you start to get it formatted. Is that cool, or do you want to see me do the boring stuff? Can I pull up a template for you? Trust me, when I pull up the template, the boring part, you'll be like, oh, I'm glad we skipped the boring part because I'm not really skipping anything. Okay, so I'm going to hit the back button here. And here's what's important. Actually, let me go forward one more time because I got to show you one more thing. Then I'll show you the template. How do you save this? Here's what I want you to do. The second you get your first newsletter done, I want you to go down here and save it as a template. Okay? And I'll show you why here in just a second. But when you get your first one done, not only next step and put it into the queue, which I'll show you in a minute, but save it as a template. So a good question is, Ben, last week you named yours Men's Fitness. Are you changing it to Training to Battle, or is that just the name of the newsletter? The reason I changed it to Train for Battle is why. If you were paying attention last week, why did I change the name from just straight Men's Fitness? Because we had a military vibe from our research, didn't we? Here's the thing. Every time you pull in new data, adapt to that data. So Training for Battle is where we're going because that's where we're aiming. So the nice part is had we built a website already? Had we built a newsletter already before we did the research? Nope. So the research can dictate the vibe of what we're doing. Now let me ask you something. Can you change this down the road a little bit? Yeah. So here's the thing. Judy says, should I leave the letter half done and save as a template, or should I get it all done? Judy, I've done it both ways, but let me tell you what works best for me. Get that first one done in the way that you like it. You know why, Judy? Because it never fails. I'll get something halfway done, and then I'll start tweaking to actually finish the newsletter, and then I'll be like, oh, no, I should add this, and it should be in every newsletter. And then I don't have that for my template that I save. So what I do is I save it in a way where it's all done and I can just go edit the links later. Okay? This is what it's going to look like on a phone, by the way. This is more of what it's going to look like when they open it in their email client. You can also send yourself a test message or do an inbox preview with Get Response. Okay? Now, everybody understands kind of the concept of what we're building here. Yeah, don't worry about the height of the columns. Trust me, it's not a big deal. Everybody good here? So let's go through what the important parts are so far. Number one, you actually decide on the name of your newsletter. Pick a newsletter, all right? Pick a name for it. Pick a tagline that gives a nice general description of what your newsletter is about. Where should we get the tagline for our newsletter? It has to do kind of with our benefits, doesn't it, that we talked about? What are the problems that we're trying to solve? Simple, right? Do you think it should be aimed at the main? Yeah. All of this stuff is where? All of this stuff is where? On your sheet. Let me pull this up real quick for you because I want to make sure you guys see where all this is coming from. So I'm just going to the website real quick, and so I'm doing the same thing I would tell you to do, which is go pull up this stuff. So this is my filled out version. I'm pulling all of my data from here. Okay? This is where my categories are. This is where I found some of the stuff, and I inputted these into Feedly. There you go. We're going to start getting our taglines from the problems here. So far, so good. So far, so good. Good. One more question that needs to be asked. Nick says, you always talk about pain just like John Carlton. That's different than magazines. No, it's not. Conventional magazines 100% focus on pain. Every headline you've ever seen in a magazine that's on a shelf typically focuses on pain. Go pay a little closer attention. Trust me, you'll see it. Trust me, you'll see it. Guitar World. I'm a big guitar guy. Does Guitar World focus on pain? Yep. Think about it. For those of you that don't think every damn magazine, every damn newsletter that you pay for doesn't focus on pain, you've got another thing coming and you're not looking at the world the correct way to be a marketer. If I buy a Guitar World, what pain am I solving? What pain am I solving? I want to know how to play that song because maybe my band wants to play it. If I'm buying a magazine about my pet, why would I buy a magazine about my pet? I want them to be healthier. I want them to behave better. I want them to not poop in my house. I want them to live a better life. That's the pain that I'm solving. You don't typically buy something without having to solve a problem. It just doesn't happen. You know why I buy food every day? Because I will die if I don't eat it. Anyways, let's keep moving. So far, so good. Everybody understand how this gets organized. I'm going to now show you how to do the hook of it all when I bring up my template. So I'm going to hit the back button. And I had previously built a template for us here in my templates. By the way, this is where you go. You got start from scratch, import, pre-designed, my templates. And down here at the bottom, I've got my welcome edition of my templates. So we're going to click on it. Now it's going to probably end up looking like this, which is a bunch of code that nobody wants to deal with. So we do this down here. Does everybody see where it says show this? Give me a yes if so. Okay, we're going to click that. Does this look familiar to what I was showing you we were starting to build? Does this look darn familiar? Cool. By the way, this logo cost me about 30 bucks. You don't need one to start out, but it cost me about 30 bucks. I get my logos done at logonerds.com. logonerds.com. Easy to use. I'll pop that up here. Let's just go ahead and do it. Logonerds.com, just so you can see it. It looks a little something like this. Great, great company. Worked with them a lot in the past. They always take care of us. I really, really like this company because they're so good at what they do. They give you revisions. They're just a good company to work with. So there you go. I get nothing for recommending them. They're just great. Okay? So this is kind of what this looks like, right? Now, for those of you paying attention, did I put 5 links in each of these in my newsletter? And I've not filled out these others, but just on these 2, did I put 5 in each? Why did I not do that? I always start with 5. I always start with 5 pieces of content, but why in this particular case did I not do that? If you read this content in my particular newsletter, you're starting to see that I am doing something specific with this content. What am I doing with my content? Watch. If your goal is to put on muscle, this week we've built a solid workout that will challenge you but make you stronger. Follow the rep instructions and daily plan. So what did I do? Instead of just putting a bunch of crap in front of them, a bunch of content that someone else wrote, I have now given them a map as to how to use that content. So for the next 2 weeks, they need to do this particular workout. Now, let me walk you through the process here. I given them a seven ab builder exercises. Do 20 reps of each exercise in a circuit and repeat 3 times. Do this workout on Tuesdays and Thursdays. Everybody follow that? Good. The 20-minute Navy SEAL circuit. Do this workout Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. These are your go hard days. Rock these out, and by the time your body adapts, we'll send you new muscle builder tips in 2 weeks so that you can continue to achieve your gains. Now, let me ask you something. Without even clicking into those links, how many of you believe that I just delivered really good value to the people that subscribe to this newsletter by giving them a way to use the curated content in an intelligent way? How many of you are starting to understand what I gave them the content, I gave them a plan, and I also previewed what was coming the next time they got an edition and gave them a reason why they needed it. Does that make sense to you guys? Make sense? I wrote that blurb. You can steal that blurb. So here's what a few of you are saying right now. Nobody has said it yet, but here's what at least I'm not looking at the chat right now, but here's what a few of you are saying. Ben, that's really easy in the fitness niche because, yeah, it's not easy in the fitness niche. It's easy because I showed you in the fitness niche. What could you do in your own niche that's powerful for someone and gives them a continuation? So for instance, let's say we're running a music-based newsletter. So let's say we're giving out guitar lessons, which I don't recommend because I don't like that market. I think that market's hard to monetize. But let's say that you're actually into something. Maybe you're doing a cooking newsletter. Maybe you're doing something where you're teaching someone a way to actually cook better for themselves, and your whole niche is cooking, right? Could you give them a list of recipes that are freely available anywhere, but list them in a way that you give them a meal plan for the next 2 weeks? What do you think? Okay, now, give me some more niches. Let's figure out how to do this, because I know the number one question that you're having right now is, Ben, I can't think of right out of the gate how to do this for my niche. So let's do preppers. Someone typed in preppers. So preppers, Chris, this is a great niche. Preppers, it's all about building up a skill set. Would you agree? They all want to become Liam Neeson, right? They all want to become Liam Neeson, they do. So Chris, every 2 weeks, could you give them a set of skills and give them a deadline to learn those skills before they get the next set of skills? And then kind of tell them why those skills are super important. See what I mean? So Chris, maybe you could have your sections like this. You could have your sections as to, outdoor survival, cooking without a stove. You can have all these different sections, and each week you could teach them to do something new in that category and then give them a deadline as to when they need to learn it by. Do you see how we're pacing and putting the burden of value on them? Yep. Good. Good. Skip's giving me a hard one. Skip says, I'd love for you to do motorcycle rally attendees. Skip, why would you subscribe to a newsletter? Is there ongoing content that you can find for those folks? Is there? The only thing I can think of, Skip, people that are motorcycle rally attendees, is you give them cool rides, cool places to ride, but it gets kind of difficult, doesn't it? I don't think that's a particularly easy niche to go after. Unless you can say, here's a skill to pick up, or here's something that's going to take away some pain and move forward, you might want to dig a little deeper. So Skip, if I'm going to do motorcycle folks, because I'm guessing that's what you're looking for, right? Motorcycle folks, people that are into riding, the value that I am going to provide to them is, number one, I would have a section on the best places to ride, and I would do a nice link to something that shows them a good ride. I would also, and this is me shooting, Skip, because this is not my niche at all, I would also give them some particular set of skills about how to get more out of their bike, how to deal with emergencies, how to deal with certain situations that come up, the best places to eat when they ride. Kind of see how that's nice because it gives them something to go do. It gives them some homework. It gives them something, go here, do this, and that's nice. I don't know how many of you have ever, subscribed to a magazine that gave you fun places, but one of my favorite magazines is, I am kind of an adventurous type these days. I like having a list of places that I would love to go when I go somewhere. So when I get on a plane, I can go do that. It's a start, Skip, but you got to dig deeper on what those people would be more into if you really want to stick with that niche. Okay, that's important. Okay, what else we got? Let's do a couple more, okay? Let's do a couple more. I know we're running short on time today, but let's do a couple more because I think it's important. Get out of debt. Donald has a great one. Donald has a great one. Get out of debt. Donald, what could you do every couple weeks or every month to give these folks something to do that would be powerful? How about a couple tips in different sections of their life where they could save a little money? Right? Just give them a little bit to bite off at a time. The whole key of getting out of debt, Donald, you and me both know this, is you take it into a very interesting place of biting off a little bit at a time instead of trying to eat the whole thing, right? So that's what I would do. Every couple weeks, you give them a few tips that are going to save them and help them cut corners so that they can get on top of this finally. Okay, one more, and then we'll move on, and then we'll kind of take this to our chat inside of the actual sessions. Yoga. What are my yoga people, my hardcore yoga people into? My hardcore yoga people are into learning new poses and understanding why those poses are great. So Ross, giving them a challenge every week to do one particular pose is huge, right? And then building your content around that. Give them one particular pose to do and then building your content around that challenge every week. That's what I'm going to be doing, Ross. Does that make sense, brother? It's giving them a challenge. And listen, not every section has to be a challenge. Let me ask you something. Am I betting that my people are going to do all of these things when they dive into my fitness letter? No. I just want them to pick one. I want them to pick one thing that they're interested in, and then the rest of it is what? What is the rest of it? If they get interested in one piece, one category, they're locked in, and the rest of it is just extra value and cool stuff that makes it even more valuable to them, right? Because let me ask you this. How many of you have a favorite section of the newspaper? How many of you have a favorite section of the magazines that you subscribe to? How many of you subscribe to Netflix because you watch all the shows that are on Netflix? No, you subscribe to it for one or two, right? You subscribe to it for one or two, and then the rest of it is just bonus. How many of you just had a light bulb moment thinking about that? Listen, someone will pay you between $4.95 and $19.95 for one section. The other is just what keeps them coming back because you got a ton of value stacked in. So how many of you, before I move on, how many of you went from thinking you were not providing enough value to thinking, holy crap, I'm putting in a ton of good stuff into this now when I see kind of what Ben's doing with his? Good. That's where your head should be. That's what you should be seeing. Now let's actually, I want to bust through this one more time because you gotta really just bring this in. Lose fat. Now they're probably not doing both of these. They shouldn't be anyway, but did I give them an entire plan if they were wanting to do the lose fat? Did I cross over into the food section a little bit here with the lose fat? Yeah, but it made sense. It made sense. So with the eat better, I'm probably giving them a few extra recipes, just some good recipes, and I'm telling them to go cook it this week. And that's what we're rocking out. But really unique recipes, right? Things that they probably haven't heard before. And then life hacks. What am I doing in life hack? I'm probably building in 1 or 2 things that they should go try in the next 2 weeks. Yep. Conversation starter. I'm going to actually put these conversations, probably 3 to 5 things that are really interesting articles that they can go bring into a conversation, kind of a, hey, did you know this? And we're done. How many of you get it? Like, you're getting what we're doing now. Here's another great question. Biggie says, do you change images between each issue? No, I don't. A couple of reasons. I want them to be familiar. I want them to be super familiar images so that they can just see the image and know what category it is. And I don't want to have to go spend a bunch of money on images, right? Because that's more work for me. That's more work for me. Okay, so do I need to spend any more time on this, or does everybody understand how you take this, you start finding more cool stuff, and you build this out of that stuff? It's actually easier than what I told you it was going to be, isn't it? You just got to know your topic. Now, here's the thing. Some of you are going to have to do a little soul searching this week, but you can do it. Some of you are going to have to say, now, what is the thing that I can lock them in and give them a plan and give them homework? But that's really all you're doing. Patrick says, so is 2 articles enough for each category? Patrick, it's not about how many articles. It's about how much work they have to do based on the 2 things that you put in there or the 5 things you put in there. Does that make sense? Yeah, it's all about, so Patrick, if I give you these 2 things and I tell you on Monday, Wednesday, Friday, you're doing this one, and on Tuesday, Thursday, for the next 2 weeks, you're doing this one, do you have enough content just out of those 2 things to fill your next 2 weeks? Yep. You know it. Someone says, am I hosting these articles? No. Would you like to see where these articles go? Is this valuable? Once I gave you the here's what you need to do the next 2 weeks, is this valuable? Holy crap, it's valuable for those of you that are trying to build your core up. This shows it to you. And I promise you, Huffington Post does not care that we just sent them a bunch of traffic. They don't mind. They don't mind. So the question is 1 article too few? I think so, because it looks like you just put 1 article in. If you can figure out a way to give them a plan, do it. But I always try to go to at least 2, because then it looks like we're putting something together for them. Okay? Could you have done this for the entire month instead of 2 weeks? Absolutely, I could have. So any niche you choose has to have something actionable. Yeah, but let's think about that. That's a good question, but let's actually break that down. Does just about any niche you guys have thrown in to me so far have something actionable? Yeah. And if you're having trouble digging into what those actionable things are, ask. Because I think the hardest one that has been thrown out here is the one that Skip says, but I don't think it's because Skip threw out a hard one. I think the angle that Skip's trying to come at it at is a hard one. With the motorcycle stuff, it's not just about reporting on rallies. It's really about what problems are these motorcycle people facing? What are the things that they're trying to solve? What are the other accessory things that these motorcycle folks are into? And what Skip has to do, and what all of you have to do, is say, Why does someone ride a motorcycle in the first place? Why are they into that? What are some other things that might fit into that same personality type? Because honestly, does conversation starters fit into training for battle? And do ask. That's what I want. It doesn't. So just to recap, a gear review is great. I think a gear review is wonderful. But why would you do a gear review? You would do a gear review because they want to actually go use it. How many of you have been on the fence about buying something for the last several months, but if you were part of a membership that you trusted and they recommended it and did a full review or linked you to a full review? Yeah, right? Jimmy's still on the fence. Jimmy's still on the fence as to why this is valuable, why people will pay you to link out to other content. Jimmy, do you know how long I had to look for this content and build this workout? Jimmy, if you were trying to put on some muscle, maybe build your abs, have you ever gone to look for workouts to build for yourself? What I'm trying to get across to you is if I save you an hour by putting something together for you, have I made my $19.95 that month and worked for it? What do you guys think? Listen, I can do this workout at home. Here's what I don't want you guys to do, and this is the most important thing. The most important thing is there are going to be several of you that are going to talk yourself out of this, and you're lost. It's okay. Hopefully you picked up some other good stuff, but you're going to try to talk yourself out of this because you are going to try to outsmart yourself. You are going to try to outsmart yourself. And I would venture to say that the reason you're not already making money with this is because you've outsmarted yourself for a while. Some of the smartest people I know are the people that just do it. I'm not trying to make you walk off a cliff, but what are you going to lose if you build this and do it the way that I'm telling you? Nothing. What are you going to lose if you don't do it? You'll walk out of this class without an asset. So that's all I'm trying to get across. Now, here's a great one from George. George says, Kiplinger, Washington newsletter has made millions by offering a synopsis of other news, and it's all in one place. Millions. I hate to tell you, I'm not going to do it because I'm not a flash how much money I make kind of person. I would hate for you all to know how much money I make with this model. You would throw up. It's ridiculous. It's ridiculous. It really is. The amount of money that I have coming in every month and the amount of money that I'm going to have coming in at the end of the year off of models like this is ridiculous. All you guys have to understand is if you have an asset like this, it won't go away, okay? If you don't ever get it built, you'll never start making money with it. So, long story short, let me move on. Let me move on. Right now, does everybody get this? Everybody good to go? Can I move on and show you the next piece? Good. If you're not yet to the point where you can wrap your mind around about how you can take content and build a program around it, that's okay. I don't have to have you there yet. That's why we have the area where you can go ask questions. I will help you get there. As long as you understand the process of the hook. Does everybody get the hook? It's not just about posting links and describing the links. It's about developing a plan and giving your audience homework to use the links until your next edition comes out. It's huge. It's absolutely huge that you get that. Okay, so here's what we're going to do. I'm going to move on, and I want to show you something real quick if that's cool. What I did was This is the session 2 area. I'm going to pop it into your chat right now. Don't go there just yet. Actually, I'm going to wait to pop it in because I got to show you stuff, but then we'll get going. In here, I've got a picture of what you just saw so that you don't have to flip back and forth through the call to get a good idea. This is motivation for you, okay? I want this to be motivation for you so you can see kind of where we're at. So that's a live script. The next time that we see this, you guys will see all the first edition completely done, okay? But I wanted you to see the progression of it. Also, I've got a template that you can download right here. Can I show you real quick how to use this so you can get started a lot quicker? Okay, let's do that real quick. So what we're going to do is you're going to download this, and it's just a text file. And don't copy this top part here because that's just like a title, but go copy all of the HTML. Grab that. You're going to go into your email autoresponder. You're going to go to messages. You're going to go to create autoresponder just like we did before. You're going to create new email. We're just going to call this test. You can format it however you want. And we are going to go down. We're going to actually go down here. Do you see where it says HTML code editor? You're going to click that. And you're going to get this awful black screen. You're going to take what came in here, copy it, paste it here. You're going to show the what you see is what you get editor, the WYSIWYG, and now you've got this popped in. If you're missing any of the graphics or anything like that, that's okay. You can replace that. You can replace all these graphics for your own easily, no problem, but that gets you started and gets you something to kind of go off that looks good. You don't have to use this, but if you want to, it's there. And then you can actually go in and save it as a template so you can use it again, okay? Ross says, there's also a template from lead pages we can use. You were referring to this. Ross, when we get into session number 3 for the sales copy, that's when you guys will have that in front of you too, because I'm going to save you time there, but not yet, okay? I don't want to get ahead. Right now, I got to get you here. So here's how this is going to play out. Stick with me. Between session 2 and session number 3, please only post questions about this session, session number 2, in this session. If you go back somewhere else, I may not see it. Also, make sure you tag me, okay? So try to tag me. If you can't, no big deal. Just post it. I'll come find it. But only things in here for session 2. I saw a few people posting session 1 and one of the other things. We don't want to do that. Your replay will be here. Sign up for the account. Here's what I want you to do. Over the next couple of days, I want you to start building number 1. Don't build number 2. Build your number 1 that's going to be delivered as soon as they buy. Okay? So just build number 1. When you build number 1, I expect you to run into problems. I expect you to be like, Ben, is this enough? Am I doing this the right way? Am I, right? You're going to run into issues and you're going to say, am I giving enough content? Does this look like a good plan? Did I give them enough homework between now and the next edition? How did I do? Post it, okay? The best way to do that is take a screenshot and put the link in here so I can link out to it, and I will come in and help you review this between session number 2 and session number 3. Sound good? Here's what you don't do. Please listen to me on this. Do not wait until the night before we do the next session. Do not wait until the night before we do the next session to get this done. You could probably get away with that with session 1. Session 2, not, because if you run into a problem and you have to ask me a question, I'll answer the question, but you probably won't have enough time to get this done. I want a done newsletter between session 2 and session number 3 so that you can show it off and programmed in and done. Now, when you're finished with your newsletter, here's what you do. You go to next step. You click next step down here at the bottom, and it will save it in here, and you name this new subscriber, and you click save and publish, and now it is live and ready to go out to your new people. Everybody good there? So between session number 2 and session number 3. Use everything you learned here, and your ending reward is you get to push this nice little blue button. And by the time we get to session number 3 to go into sales copy, to build the page that we're actually going to do for this, you got to have this done. Does everybody understand? Yeah, you need all the content too, full blown. This one's only halfway done, but by next week, well, I'll have mine done too. I'm doing this course with you guys, by the way. I'm not pulling any punches. I'm actually doing this at the same pace that you are. Okay, I have to stay a little bit ahead, but notice I didn't get completely ahead, right? I didn't get completely ahead. And yeah, you can save your drafts. You can save it as a draft. You can save it as a template. You can do that. This is some work, right? But let me ask you this. Is it a lot less work because you got your initial stuff done? Can I tell you one more cool thing that's awesome? This is only hard once. This is only tough once. Because once you get the format down of this and you get your full thing done, guess what? The next one's not too hard. The next one's much easier once you get the formatting down and you kind of get your flow. But you got to get the first one done, right? So there's a reason I'm saying don't focus on number 2, focus only on number 1, and you'll be good to go. Now, one more thing that I want you to kind of notice down at the bottom, make sure you get this in here too. Let them know when the next edition lands. Okay? Let them know when the next edition lands. All right, so what we're going to do, I think we've covered everything there. I'm going to get into answering a couple questions. Before I do that, though, I want to make sure we do something here real quick. I am posting a link into the chat to go to session 2. This is where you're going to ask questions, download the template. And what I would love for you to do is post down here if you learned something today, what you picked up, how you figured, what you thought of the session. Tell us what you thought and what you picked up today. That helps us get a good idea of where you're at and what we can help you with. We want to hear the good stuff. Let me know. Let me know. All right, so let me get into our presentation. Let's go for some questions here. I'm here. Let's get these babies answered for you. So feel free to type in a question. I like it when you type QQQ because it makes it easier for me to see. Let's get started. When we give them the challenge or assignment in our newsletter, do we ask them to share it somehow? Could we direct them back to our Facebook fan page? You can, but don't make it overly complicated right now. Okay? Rob, I wouldn't. I want this to be something that's personal to them. A lot of what we do is we tell, sometimes we'll tell them to print the newsletter out and put it on their fridge, or print out something that says, I'm going to do this, or write it down and put it above their desk. That helps them stay accountable, but keep it simple. Don't make them come back because that basically gives you more work to do. Okay? On the replay of these videos, can you put the minutes on it so I can stop and go back? Absolutely, Judy. Ashton, remind me when we mix these things down. I think I left the minutes off the player last time, and it makes it difficult to go back. That's my bad, Judy. I think I just picked the wrong player. We'll get that done on both everything that's there so far, and we'll make sure we do that in the future. Good suggestion. Love that. Let's see here. How do you add that to the bottom of the newsletter when the next edition arrives? Let me show you. Great question. So when we're in here, kind of what you can do is this. You can have all these little different sections, right? You have these different sections, and you can actually go in here with the one I gave you. You can do this. Now, let me show you this too, because I think this is important. If you were to actually do this the first time, let me show you. Once you go back and edit a template, sometimes it'll only let you do this. But let me show you how you do it the first time you build this and you're first building your template. I left you a section to do that so that you could just go in and do it. But watch what happens if we create a new. Great question, by the way. Let me find this one real quick. So right here, do you see where actually when you first build it, you've got this section here that gives you blocks? I'm going to take a text block and drag it down to the bottom. And now I've got a text block that you can do certain things with. So let me get rid of this. I can do like my image block. So I put my logo down at the bottom and I can do my text block on top of that. I don't want any of that, but you can't see that right now, but I'll make it a color so you can. Cool. And then you save your template when you're done. If you're doing mine and you're using my template, which probably won't give you this side block editor, all you have to do is just click here and edit. See? Super simple. I built mine so that you could build it just like mine, and that'll get you going. Great question, Kevin. Thanks, man. Let's see here. Thanks, Ross. Awesome. Double or single opt-in? Single, because you don't want them to have to, double opt-in for this stuff, and they've already paid you, and it's going to be automatic. So I usually do a single opt-in. Okay, so Nathan says your subscription is targeted to men, but you link to articles for ad builder features for women. Do you worry about this? No, because if you feel like it's going to be a problem, Nathan, I think it's a great question. I actually knew I was going to get that question today, so I should have probably just answered it. You can put a disclaimer that says, hey, it's a girl in this video, but these things are perfectly set up for men, so do it. Don't worry about it. It's a girl. That's a good one. If you feel like this, use your gut, okay? If you feel like something's going to be a problem or someone's going to get like a weird vibe about it, tweak it. And Nathan, like if you have someone email you and say, why are you putting a girl in this when I'm a guy? Then you know to go tweak it later, right? So that's the thing. You just kind of grow with what your subscribers tell you and kind of the feedback they give you. You can't guess all this stuff out of the gate though, okay? Paul says, I'm playing catch up. I was on holiday last week. Will you still be answering questions from session 1? Yeah, Paul, if you go post in there, try to tag me in the session 1 area. That helps me see it. I answered a whole crap load of everything there, but I'm checking everything back and forth. And Ashton is actually, she doesn't know. Her and Alicia are going to be helping me too, so that we can jump back in there and make sure we don't leave anything unturned. Okay? Drew says, Ben, I don't think I'm locked into the pain yet. I want to do this 25 to 35 male who wants to make more money. Would you say the magazine Maxim is a good representation of that? It's a good start. I think people that read Maxim are, they want to look better. They want to have the things that are in Maxim. So I think that's a great start. I think you might look a little bit more into something like Entrepreneur magazine, though, and mix in some of those elements too. Give them some strategies, Drew. That's the real thing. With something like that, you got to understand with making money and wanting to make more money, you may put a strategy in there that they may not want to do. So give them some options. Give them some things that they can go do now and test out. So you may have to have 3 to 5 instead of just 2, right? But yeah, I think go look for magazines where people who are already in that pain are reading. Entrepreneur magazine is good. Success magazine is good. Find those. Maxim is going to be kind of the things that they want because I don't think that there's a whole lot of tips usually on that. There is some in Maxim, but there you go. That's what I would do, Drew. Hopefully that helps. Okay. Judy, I've never used an autoresponder. Is there a learning curve I have to do also? Judy, if you follow everything I just showed you, you're good to go. We literally programmed our first message in for this one. Would you like to see how to program in the next one, Judy? I'd love to show you. Cool, let's do it. So I don't want anybody doing this. This is why I didn't show it, because I just want the first one done. But let's say we go in and we knock this one out and it's done. So Judy, we now have message number 0, right? Message 0 is done for us. What we would do is we would go in here, we would say, hey, I want to create another autoresponder. We're going to leave this page. Oh, I didn't publish this yet, did I? Let's actually publish this. Choose message. Actually, let me get out of here. And I'm just going to pick Well, let me actually do this from the ground up for Judy because I don't want to confuse anybody. We would create our email. And then Judy, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go in and I'm going to build my template just like we normally did. So I'm going to pull my templates up so I don't have to do all that. This is message number 0, Judy, okay? Let me do this so you can see what's going in. I'd have to finish this, obviously. Then I'm going to click next. And then, Judy, I'm going to actually save this and publish it. And we have message number 1, right? So far, so good, Judy? That's just what we built today. That means it goes out immediately. Okay, and I know Judy's not the only one wondering this, so it's a good question. We're just going to go into create new after that. Okay, and you see how it's now day 1? If we're doing every 2 weeks, Judy, what would we do? Day 14, right? Day 14. So day 14, and then we would actually write our next message, and then we save that. And now we've got 2. So I'm going to actually do this for you so you can see. I'll delete this later because I don't have any subscribers on this new list yet. And I'm going to go back to my templates. I'm going to pick the same template as before, except I'm going to edit the content to be different. Make sense? I'm going to edit the content to be different for this edition. And I'm going to click next. Save and publish. And now we've got right away, and we've got 14 days later. That's the ball game pretty much, Judy. Does that make sense? Once you have that template in place, you're just tweaking out a few pieces of it every time and pushing that next piece live. Okay? Pushing that next piece live. All right, let's keep going. Great questions, by the way. Judy, I'm not writing all the content. I am writing this letter. I'm writing this letter that links out to the content, and I'm explaining to them, as I showed you on this call, why the new content is important to them. But I'm not writing any of the things that we're actually linking out to. If you paid attention, you noticed that none of this content that's in here was written by me. Okay? Good questions, good questions. Now, here's another question. Does anybody realize that none of this content is really dated? It's really dated. It's not. I don't put any dates on it. Like, it's date on the site, but there's nothing that's like, hey, this is the Valentine's Day edition. So what's the danger of this? Well, Philip asked this. He said, what if they pull the site down that you link to? Philip, do you think your subscribers will email you and let you know? They will. And you go fix it. You just change that autoresponder. Easy peasy, man. Those of you that believe you're going to live in a perfect world with anything you put out, I hate to tell you, but living in a perfect world is going to keep you super duper poor, or it's going to help you make a lot less money than you can. People don't mind if a link is broken. Give them a way to reach out to you. You know what a great way to reach out for you with this model is? No, I love it. I love the question, Philip. I wasn't busting on you. You know what a great thing about this model is? If they have a problem, what do they do? If they have a problem, what do? They hit reply to the email because you sent them an email. Simple. You just simplified your help desk task immensely. They just hit reply. Super simple, right? Good. Good. Hope you dig that. Hope you dig that. Of course you give a real email address. Otherwise, you won't be able to send this out. Okay, so I'm going to keep going with questions. Good questions so far. I love these. Is a month too long for their action plan? It depends on the niche. It depends on the niche, okay? With weight loss, I like doing it every 2 weeks because it mixes up the workouts. If you've got like a pet thing, could you give people some stuff for their pets to do the entire month? That would be awesome. Yeah. Pet's not going to get bored with that in a month. but then you want to mix it up a little bit, right? If you're doing like a motorcycle, enthusiast type thing like Skip is doing, could you do one a month? I think so, because you're giving them a lot of really cool things that they can do on their motorcycle that they're probably not going to get done in the next 2 weeks. So you have to kind of gauge it by your niche. And like what I'm trying to get across to you is if you're having trouble gauging what your niche is, stop making it complicated and go to a different niche. Feel free to mix it up a little bit. Just get something done that makes sense to you, okay? I want you to do what you're passionate about, and I will answer as many questions as I can for you to help you do that, but don't make it hard on yourself if you can't crack the code, because I know all of you are interested in more than one thing. Okay, let's see. I'm going to keep going. Let's see. Shooting and concealed carry. I'm having trouble translating it into that niche. What are some things about shooting and concealed carry? And I think this is a great question. What are a lot of those shooting and concealed carry people also into? That's where you got to dig. That's what you got to rock out for me, okay? What are they also into? Are they kind of into survival stuff? Yeah. Are they also kind of conservatives? Yes. Are they also into family stuff? Yes. What are the things that fit into that market? Get away from these are gun rights people, or these are people that are like, into shooting guns, so I have to just teach them about shooting guns. Once again, in this newsletter that is on your screen right now, is everything in here about training? No. I'm focused on training for the homework portions, but then I give them some accessory content. So with your gun rights people, what would be, or not your gun rights, but more of your shooting folks, let me ask you this. Can you give your shooting folks a challenge every 2 weeks or every month? What do you think? What do you think? I can. If you need help, I can help. But here's the challenge. Give them something to go do. Tell them a story about someone that did something amazing shooting-wise or, at the range. Give them a new target that they can print out. Give them something cool that they can share with their friends. So for shooting, like one of my things is, I know a lot of the shooting folks are conservatives. I would put in some sort of interesting target thing that they can print out, that they can take to the range with them that's funny. There's a ton of things that you can build into that. I would tell a story. I would tell a story about someone who did something amazing shooting-wise, and then I would say, hey, in the next 2 weeks before our next edition, go try this and send us an email back. Anyways, hopefully that gets you sort of started. Don't lock yourself into just one thing. The one thing is the major pain. It's the accessory stuff that you add more value into. I know it can be hard to wrap your mind around it, but you can do it, and I will help you. Okay, let's see. Does putting a plan each time make it more difficult to follow up on the next one? No. No, absolutely not. Absolutely not. Give them new stuff. I know it requires a little bit of imagination, but once you dial it in, you're done, right? We'll get there. We're going to get you there. I know it's a climb for some of you, and that's okay. It's a climb I'm willing to help you make. How would you add in action steps for the holistic pet niche? There's not a lot of content there's not a lot of content available specifically for holistic, lots of general pet. So Mel, ain't nobody signing up for a holistic pet thing. You got to sneak it in on them, okay? You got to sneak in about the benefit, because holistic, nobody really gives a damn. It's how do I keep my pet healthy? And then you slip in the holistic stuff, right? You got to focus on the pain, not on the title of the solution. Write that down. Focus on the pain, not on the title of the solution for your membership. That will help. Okay? So Mel, with what you do is, what are some cool things that they can do with their pet? Every week, what are some cool things? And then you get into the whole, try your dog doing this. Try your dog doing this. Sending out warnings. Mel, what's a big thing that got a lot of people to get their pet into more holistic stuff that happened in the last 2 weeks that you could have alerted, that you could do an article on? And it's still pretty timeless. There's food contamination, right? Now, I know that's a in the news thing, so you're thinking I can't put it in there, but still, that's something that's very much an informative reason why they would want to go that way. So, Mel, here's a couple that you could do, and I hope everybody's enjoying these because right now we're kind of outside of the normal realm of this, and we're into questions. But here's one that you could do right out of the gate, okay? I think the key is for you is get focused on general fun things that they can do with their pet, okay? General fun things that they can do with their pet, little challenges, little activities that they can do with their pet, and then slip in the holistic stuff as kind of your prover of value, like new recipes that they can make for their pet in their kitchen, right? If they're really into their pet, they're going to do it. Trust me, it's a huge market. Get into something that they can, like, yeah, George has pet massage. Teach them how to do pet massage, send them to an article or a video that does that, and then say for the next 2 weeks, do this, do this, do this, and then start trying to find those pieces of content as you go along. Okay? I'm still going. Hopefully we're getting there. I know it's tough, but you're going to get there. Thanks, Mel. Yeah, no problem. Good, 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 good. Let's see. Are there criteria from selecting your content apart from relevance? I just want something that's going to be powerful for them. So let me tell you something. We'll take a step back for a second. How many of you are in a niche you're not really an expert in yet? Because someone asked this. Someone said, how did you come up with the directions for your workouts? Okay, so do this for me. Go become more of a damn expert. If you're going to have something where you're providing value and you can't figure out how to provide value, do you realize it might be because you don't know enough about the topic yet? Listen, all it takes is you deciding, this is my membership, this is what I'm going to do, and before I hire someone to write this, I should become more of an expert on it so I can do this. Someone said, how did you come up with the workouts, the directions for the workout? Do you think I did some research? Do you think I became an expert? Yeah. So what I'm saying is if you want this and you want to really provide value and you're having a little bit of a tough time at getting the progression, go read some more. Go read some more. Challenge yourself a little bit and you'll get there. Okay? Do you think I would have felt as comfortable writing a fitness newsletter 6 months ago, those of you that follow me? No, because I was a chunk. My point is, I got into fitness for my own self, and that's why I decided to kind of go into this niche because it's something that I researched for my own personal use. How many of you are trying to get into something right now for your own personal use and realize that's what you should probably turn your membership into because you're already doing the research? That's where it's good. Build these babies in a way that you're already doing this stuff for your personal life, and it becomes a much more enjoyable experience. Now, some of you are having a come to Jesus moment with your topic right now. That's okay. Just decide on it the next day or two and move. Don't make it hard on yourself, though. You know what the number one thing that holds a lot of internet marketers back is that nobody really realizes is? They won't pick a niche. They won't pick a niche, and that's their excuse, so they fail to act. Can I tell you guys a secret? Everybody in this course could pick fitness if they were into fitness and they wanted to go look the content, and we all have a place. Every one of us. Every one of us. Every stinking one of us. Okay? Every one of us could do dogs. Every one of us in this course could make money online, and we would have enough audience. See what I mean? So just because I do one or just because you got other people asking about one, don't think you're wrong. The market's huge for a reason. Okay, so let's keep going. Should we leave the week special blank or look out for an affiliate offer. So what I would do, Jim, right now is if you don't have a good affiliate offer, just go find something cool that you think you can recommend to your people and put it in their affiliate link or no affiliate link, just to set the pace. And then down the road, if you find something good, you can go back and replace those things and with stuff that you do make money on. Just add value, right? A lot of times people forget that when we recommend stuff, we add value because we're in the world, we're recommending stuff. Usually you make money too, but you're adding value. It's big. Who's feeling good about this so far? Give me a yes if so while I'm answering more questions. Good. How do you have your subscribers start on your most recent edition? You don't. That's a good question. You don't. New subscribers start on edition number 1. We don't have them subscribe on our most recent edition. That's why we try not to date these things, okay? That's why we try not to date these things, because we want every new subscriber. Let me ask you something. If you've written 6 months worth of content, do you want to be trying to keep up with that content for the person that signed up on day 1 with you? No. You want to have someone that signed up on day 1. You want to get ahead of them 3 or 4 months. And then the person that signs up 6 months from now starts on the content you wrote 6 months to 8 months ago. Make sense? Baby steps to wrap your mind around this. Yes, but it's okay. I realize that this is something that's tough for a lot of people. We'll get there though. All right, so are you writing all the content? Judy, I would highly recommend that you write all the content until you get 100 subscribers. Okay, now you're not writing any of the content outside that you're linking out to, but you're writing the newsletters until you get 100 subscribers. After that, I would hire someone to do it for you. And I'll show you how to do that later. Okay? I would not number each newsletter. I would keep them as unnumbered as possible. Can you reuse content? Yes. Okay, so this is a great question from George. George says, can you reuse content? George, in this particular equation, could I reuse some of this content on the fitness thing? Of course. Does everybody see how I could reuse this content in addition 3 months to 6 months down the road? Give me a yes if you understand that I can reuse some of this content. Do you understand why? Because it lends itself to reuse. Can you do that with everything? No. But should you try to aim your content that way if possible? So we were talking about the pet massage stuff earlier. Do you think do you think 6 months down the road, if you sent me that thing, that it might jog my memory, be like, oh yeah, I'd forgotten about that. Let's do that again. It's going to work. It's going to work. So when you find something that's really good that helps your people, feel free to pop it into another edition too, because as long as you're kind of mixing it up and you're not doing the exact same newsletter, it's okay. Because guess what? I'm going to build this ab builder circuit into several newsletters to go with whatever else I pop in here. Cool? What if someone leaves you and comes back and rejoins later? Then they're SOL. For those of you that don't know what that means, basically what I'm saying is they start back from the beginning. Okay, let me see here. You talk about new subs over time. Do they get 0? Yeah, everyone gets issue number 0 when they start. Doesn't matter when they sign up. If they sign up today, if they sign up 6 months from now, everybody starts there. Okay? Is there any copyright concerns from grabbing articles and getting paid using their articles? We're not getting paid because of their articles. We're getting paid because of the way we curate. Okay? See here. I'm reading. I've also got content I use for my business inside of membership. Can I use some of this content too? Yeah. Pull content from wherever you can as long as it adds to the conversation that you're trying to have. Okay? Karen says, will you cover legal disclaimers? Karen, yeah, when we get into building the pages, for our sites next week, we're going to try to sneak it in there. If not, I'll sneak it in a little later, but we'll get it in before the course is over for sure. So I'll make sure you're covered. So Drew says, do you only give the hook on the major pain homework? Drew, I'm looking for as many ways to give homework as possible. So Drew, are you looking at the screen real quick? Everybody, and I think this is good for everybody. This is a great question, by the way. When you look at this screen, could I give homework in almost all of these? This one maybe not so much, but could I give homework in almost all of these? Life hacks, yeah, try this week. It's something cool. Like it's maybe you never knew how to do dishes this way, or maybe you never knew how to peel eggs this way. Maybe you never knew how to tie a tie. Try this in the next 2 weeks. Here, do the gain muscle workout, lose fat, make these 3 meals this week. Is that starting to help a little bit? Are they going to do all the homework? No, that would be overwhelming. But if you give homework in all of these and you give a call to action, because that's really what we're doing, isn't it? Aren't we really just giving people a call to action of something we want them to do? Yeah. If you give them a call to action, it puts the burden of using your content on them. How many of you have been signed up for a gym for 2 years and you've not shown up in 2 years? Are you mad at the gym? Are you ticked off at the gym right now? No, you're not ticked off at the gym. You're mad at yourself. You know why you keep paying the gym? Just in case you need it. Just in case you need it. So if you're putting really good content in there, it's important, right? It's important because they'll keep paying you and they'll keep getting value out of it. And you don't have to write the content. You just got to put it together for them. All right. Let's see here. Do you think there are enough challenges to do this for women's running? Paul, yes, I love that question. How many of you right now can think of a way that Paul can rock out his newsletter like all the time in women's running? Like Paul, every couple of weeks, give them a different set of things they need to do with their running. So if they've been running a mile, give them a way to run 2. And then give them a new challenge. Give them all kinds of challenges. Do, off-road running. Do this, do that, do that. And if you build it into a plan, fitness is easy because you could all build all these kinds of plans and rotate them. And as long as you've got them on a plan, it's a progression, right? But fitness isn't the only thing that works like that. Okay? Any skill, any talent that we put together is important. So, for instance, this is a really boring one, but just a good example. If I'm learning to type, could you send out challenges for me every couple weeks that I could do to get better at typing? There you go. So let's think of another one. If I am trying to learn how to be a better baseball player, can you send out workouts and routines and practice things that I can do and build them into a plan for me and send it out every 2 weeks or every month that I would get better with? Okay, cool. So people that are into like pet stuff, can you do some things that would help your pet people every 2 weeks or every month? What do you think? Here's what I would do. I would build a daily thing, pet-wise. I would build a daily thing that they do that kind of keeps them into what keeps their pet healthy and how to mix it up. So we're going to do a walk today. We're going to do a walk here, but we're going to do a long walk here. And then we're going to do this particular game. Here's a particular toy that's great for the pets. And this is why, this is what you do. Build in some of those things and it's good. Now it's a little harder. It's a little harder there because it's not something they're trying to build up, but it's still doable, right? It's still doable. See here. I'm still going. I still got questions. So many good questions this time, guys. Thank you. What's the ideal number of content sources? I try to get as many as I can and put them into Feedly, but 10 is typically what I'm looking for. Pets, is it better to drill down to dog or cats or birds? Yes. Yes, yes, yes. The more you can drill down, the better. Kate, if you can drill down to the kind of pet, even better, as long as there's a big enough market for it. Like dachshunds. Everybody knows I have a huge dachshund following, right? Yeah. Feedly.com, they do have a subscription, but you can use it for free. I use it for free. Amy, crowdfunding for college students. Is that your niche? Amy, that's a little bit, the way you said that at least, that's a little bit more of a course rather than a membership. What could you do that would be a better membership? Maybe cool ways to make money, outside of the box ways to make money for college students. I would read that when I was in college, Amy, I would have bought that and I would have read it every time you put it out. Crowdfunding is extremely limited. College living, yeah, you can put in living tips, life hacks, conversation starters, how to stay fit. You see kind of how you can expand your niche, Amy? If you're aiming at college students, you could put crowdfunding in there, but you see how you can kind of expand how you're talking to those people by looking at the other things that they're into? That's the thing. If you feel limited content-wise, or you feel like maybe what you came up with is just a course instead of an ongoing, look at the other things those people are interested in, and then you will start to see how you can provide a membership for them and still teach them the thing you wanted to teach them in the first place. How about the MLM niche? Like if you want to teach MLM people stuff, basically send them new tips on how to get more exposure, selling tips. It's pretty much the Make Money Online crew. Sales funnels. How many of you are a part of our sales funnel training? Who's a member of Funnel Vision? Funnel Vision, we go through, we basically say, here's an amazing funnel that's online. It's awesome. And then in our really good ones, when we do it the right way, what do we say? Go implement some of the things that they're doing in your funnel this week. Has anybody ever picked that out? Those of you that are Funnel Vision folks, that we try to say, go use this, go implement these 3 things next week in your stuff. How many of you think that Funnel Vision is written at the pace that you're going through it? It may seem like it, but how many of you think that Funnel Vision is done and we deliver a new funnel exactly on the pace that you're there? Or how many of you think that you probably started into Funnel Vision months after it had already started? There you go. And you're right if you know that. But you see kind of how we do that though? And I'll be showing you more of this stuff as we move along, but there you go. Let's see. Do I have to change the offer every edition? Nope. Keep it simple. How do you make sure that you don't end up with any of your links over again? I don't. If it fits into what I'm trying to teach them, I'm okay with doing links over again. Are there any times when you would consider the age range of 18 to 24? It's tough to get them to pay for stuff in most cases. Still going. We got a couple more questions here. Great questions today, guys. Would you recommend a Facebook page so subscribers can talk about their content or results? For $19.95, no, I don't, because it's more work for you. You can do it if you want, but it's more work. You get into a 97 to a 197 a month, then Facebook is good. Build a group around it or build a forum around it, whatever you got to do. That's fine, but I would not overcomplicate it. Oh, this is good. This is such a good suggestion from George. Hooks for conversations. Cosmo has a weekly questionnaire. How many of you have ever sat in a room with someone that had you do the Cosmo questionnaire with them? Like it was like a couples questionnaire or a compatibility test. How many of you realize what Cosmo's actually doing to you? How many of you realize that people subscribe to Cosmo because that's a fun thing that they get to share with people that they know? Like that's just one of those icing on the cake things that keeps you paying for Cosmo. You know how easy those are to do? Yeah, I know it's silly, but do you realize that's kind of one of those things that keeps people coming back? Anyway, hopefully you dig that. If you're doing something more creative, craft, painting, more entertainment driven, would you still approach the newsletter geared to crafts themselves or solving a problem? So this is a good one because we're actually doing some of this, Paula. Paula, have you ever heard of a cricket? Have you ever heard of a cricket? So a cricket is like something that, at least the way I understand it, and listen, there are people in my company that can speak to this better, but the idea is it's kind of like a scrapbooking tool. And it helps you kind of build certain things in certain shapes and you have certain patterns. With crafts, one of the things that a lot of people are always looking for are certain patterns for certain things that they're creating, right? Scrapbooking, crafting, whatever, certain patterns are a big thing. Do you get where I'm going with this from a membership standpoint? Let me just be right out there. Include the patterns. Send patterns out and people will pay you monthly to get new patterns. That's it. It's that simple, right? It's that simple. So that's another thing that you might think of, guys, when you're putting these things together is when you're doing a membership, is there something that's just good ongoing content? Harold, I missed your question. My niche is season dependent gardening. How do I handle this? So Harold, why do people garden? Let's dive. This is good for everybody. Why do people garden? Why do they like gardening? Other than the obvious. What do you think? It's relaxing. They enjoy it. Everybody else, feel free to chime in. I don't understand it from a like thing, but stress management's good. Are we talking about growing food or are we talking about just doing yard work? I think you're talking about growing food. So Harold, is it really seasonal? The growing food part is, but Harold, what part isn't seasonal? They want to save money, right? There's a section of content for you. They want to be healthier, to eat more organic. There's a section for you that has nothing to do with them gardening in their garden that you can still give them that provides value. Does that make sense, brother? Does that make sense? Like, yeah, man, that's it. Is everybody starting to wrap their minds around the fact that what you think is maybe your primary sort of value and the things that people are into, it's really about the other stuff they're into that brings in that extra value. So Harold, like, the garden, when it's in season, that's one thing, but you can have kind of a, tips for the gardening side, but giving them new meals to try out and new recipes is huge because it's like an organic recipe thing. That's the key here. You're looking for those extra things within the niche that you're already playing in and that you love and that you want to write in that lend themselves to extra content. Did that open the doors for some new people? I know there's still a few of you trying to wrap your mind around it, and it's okay. I will help you. I will get you there. Okay, so I know we're almost running out of time here. Let me pop this into the chat box for you. If you would do me a favor, jump over to this link. Let me know what you thought of today's session. Tell me where you're at. Tell me what you're struggling with. I will get you there. My team will help get you there. We are moving right along. Next week is session number 3. We're going to do copy. You must have edition number 1 done, okay? You must have edition number 1 done before we get into next week. Does it have to be perfect? No, but it's got to be ready to go out. It's got to be something that's live content that is ready to go out. Win, lose, or draw, it's got to get done. Is everybody cool with that? Give me a yes, so. Good. Guys, I'm so damn proud of you. You know, I feel like everybody has looked at this and not necessarily known how to get started from day one, but now I feel like everybody's starting to wrap their minds around it. I hope I'm doing a decent job of helping you get there. The most important thing to me is this. You walk out of this with an asset that is sellable, okay? You got to walk out with an asset that you can sell. If you can do that, I promise you will make money with this. It's hard not to once you have the asset. What gets most people is they never build the asset. Okay, so that's what I want to do. So here's the thing. Go to that page, the link that I just gave you. The replay will be up there here in a couple hours, possibly tomorrow morning, because it's going to be a monster stinking file. And what I want you guys to do is ask the questions, refine the points. I will be in there every stinking day of this week if you will do me a favor, if you will go in there and you will actually knock it out. Now, here's the thing. I don't actually have a checklist for this section other than the fact that you need to, well, I'll tell you what, I'll put together a checklist. It's only 3 things. I'll give you the checklist right now. Go in, set up a Feedly account, import the places where you're going to get your content into your Feedly account. That's 1. 2, sign up for a Get Response account. 3, take my templates and go build your first newsletter. Okay? And Ashton's going to remind me to do the email address setup for you guys so I can show you how to do that when we get going. Sound good? Good. So 3 things. 3 things. Set up Feedly and import content into it so you can have a running feed from your favorite sources. Number 2, set up a Get Response account. Number 3, build your first newsletter with what we covered on today's session. I will build that checklist into it, but that at least gets you started so you're not waiting on me. Sound good? Awesome. Awesome. I hope you're having a blast. I hope you're starting to see how this works. And one more thing, once you get this stuff down, you're going to be able to help so many other people do this in their business. I'm excited because I know right now you guys are building a skill set that you can pass on to people that need your skill set. They've already got traffic. They've got people coming in their chiropractic office. They've got people coming in to help, that they're trying to help lose weight. They've got the people. They've got the traffic. They just don't have a membership that these people would love to sign up for, and you can help them build it. Okay? Good stuff. Good stuff. By the way, one more thing. If you run into any problems with your newsletter, get it done. Get it done. Take a screenshot and post the link on the session 2 page. I will go look at it. We are in this to get you there, and we're excited to get you there, but I can't help you if you don't put stuff in front of me. So go hustle your butts off this week. Get it done. And I promise we'll come out with some very good stuff on the other side. Next week, session number 3 is we're going to be doing copywriting. We're going to be setting up our pages. I got some amazing stuff set up for you. We're going to be knocking it out, but you have to have everything done from session number 2. Okay? I will make sure, by the way, that I include all of the questions that we answer today in the Q&A session because I feel like we had a whole session that was a Q&A session today on this one. I'll make sure all the questions stay in there and we keep it good to go. So there you go, guys. Thanks for being here. I will see you next week, session number 3. You'll be getting emails from me too. I'm going to keep pushing you. Don't worry. All right. I'm excited. Hope you're excited. Hope you learned a ton today. Get in that group. Leave me feedback on today's session, how good it was, how bad it was. Just let me know what's going on and start asking me questions. We'll get them answered. I've got to take a little break today. I got another webinar I got to do here in a little bit, and then I will try to be in there late tonight, early tomorrow morning, and we'll start getting things answered. So thanks for being here, guys. Be good. Take care of yourself. I will talk with you all really, really soon.